Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a classic Zombicide unboxing. This is for Season 3 Rue Morgue. This is the base game / expansion. It's going to be picked up, played on its own, or you can mix it with the other classic Zombicide games. If you end up getting the reboot pack, you can mix it with second edition as well, the 2.0. Although that's just so that way you can use all the zombies, have the correct zombie cards, have the ID cards for the miniatures, all that. Otherwise, all the tiles can always be mixed and matched. The new rules could be integrated. That's the only thing that didn't really, I guess, cross over 100% will be some of the new rules or new ideas in here. But I'd say most of the classic Zombicide. They added some neat new rules or concepts, and 2.0 has not, I'm going to say, yet implemented them. They might in the future. So yeah, we're going to look at all the coolness. I'm not going to go over the base rules of how Zombicide works, but we do want to look at all the new stuff in here. So, first of all, we're just going to look at what components are in here. We're going to get a set of tiles. A big giant helicopter. We have our 9 brand new tiles. The theming of this one is, being the morgue, is we have a hospital. That's one big part of it, and then the other part is and some medical facilities. We also have some outdoor campground type tiles as well. So that's one of the big themes, and we'll look at all of these a little bit more in depth in just a minute. We have our deck of weapons, of course. We need all those. We have a spawn deck, which you'll notice says Stingers because we have brand new yellow zombies called Stingers, which have special rules. So those are cool. We have some other things we have. We have some tank tiles. So these are kind of neat. They're for some extra gameplay. We have team mode cards. This is a new aspect of the game. There is a way to play in team mode, which is really fun. Cooperative or competitive. We have our yellow dice, which I'm not going to go over again, but these are neat because these ones actually have bullets on the sides for the pips. We still have our 1 for a zombie and a Molotov for the 6, but they have bullets for the rest, which is different than all the rest, which usually have gunshots. So that's kind of neat. And we actually get 9 of these. So we get quite a bit because we have multiple teams possibly for the game, so they wanted to give us extra dice. Then the last thing we have for component-wise is we have our survivors. But they actually have these because this is team mode. We get 12 survivors. So we get 2 teams, and this is how they had them separated in the box. We had a team of 6 and another team of 6. Obviously, you can mix and match them however you want. But we will go over those each individually a little bit later. But let's look at some of the new rules or concepts in the game. So first of all, let's just hop in and look at some of them. Alright, so yeah, it's mix and match with all the other stuff. So there is some new stuff in here that's not from the previous games. So like all the basic stuff stays the same. Line of sight, attacking, all that fun stuff like that. Adrenaline, summoning guys. We do have the new zombies, which are called Stingers. So let's take a quick look at, we'll get back to them, because we'll want to go over all their things. But they have a new type of zombie also called a crawler as well. But for actual other gameplay modes, one new thing here is these green tokens, which are called, it says for opening a door, but they reference them later. These are trigger tokens. So the ultimate zombies are revealed. So check page 32. So let's go ahead and just jump right to there and look at them. We have trigger events. As their name applies, trigger events set up a special rules when predefined circumstances occur unless otherwise stated by the mission. Apply the rules below. So the missions can actually activate certain things. So you walk into a room, you activate these. Various things can happen per mission, but if they don't, they can at bare minimum. So as an event a tile displaying event triggers only spawn zombie the first time a survivor stands in one of its building or indoor alley zones at the end of an action. Flip over the trigger event indicated with Zeus. Don't spawn zombies inside the building zones of this tile when a door leading to it is opened. Spawn zombies when a survivor steps inside one or inside there. Game effects born of trigger events can interrupt actions or team actions are resolved before resuming the tile. So what this basically means is this is kind of a neat little idea. So it's saying here's the line between tile 1B and 4B, this white line here. Travis is about to move into the action to go from 1B, which will then trigger this tile. Then when he does that, all of these zones spawn. So they didn't spawn when he entered the building. They're only going to spawn when he activates that trigger. So here's another good example of this. It's going to show Kathy opens the door. So she is going to spawn these 4 rooms here because they're on this tile. She's going to skip this entire tile because there's a trigger event. She's going to skip this tile because there's a trigger event. But she will then spawn these 2 rooms because they're triggered. Or there's zombies there. And it's just like this one down here won't because there's a door prevents it from spawning. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. So it delays, so like you can have bigger buildings then, and you can have some of the stuff delayed in there if you even just want to play it like that. So that's kind of a neat idea there. And then there's some missions that will trigger various other things. It says triggers are a wonderful tool for mission creation. For example, you can limit their range to a single zone or link them to a door to trigger the opening of another door or the appearance of an unexpected guest. So you could have it be like, oh, once you trigger into this area, it unlocks the door somewhere else. Or you trigger that, oh, an abomination appears all of a sudden, or specific groups of zombies. And then when you're mixing and matching with all the new, all the classic stuff, plus all the 2.0, you have a lot more interesting different things you can do. So you can add these into different zones that are kind of neat. So that's a neat new mechanic for the game. Yeah, and then if we look at our tiles here, they're actually fairly big, so they're not going to be hard to miss. We have 6 of them, and on the opposite side, they have a check mark to show you've already activated them. So then the rest of the tiles here, we do have our noise tokens, we have our objectives, we have our spawn points, we have our neutral doors, we also have a blue and a pink. So pink is a new color that hadn't been introduced before, just to add a little variety, so you have a different option. The other thing on here are the actual spawn numbers here, so 1 through 6, which are a new way to spawn zombies. I'm going to go ahead and skip to that. So we have step spawn. Almost every spawn zone has one of several spawn locator tokens numbered 1 to 6 near it. Each spawn step, roll a dice, and Each spawn step, roll a die to select a number of zombies enter the board. The dice amount to the roll depending on the number of survivors at the beginning of the game. The amount does not change even if survivors are eliminated. Caution commands like dog commands, for example, do not count as survivors for the determined dice. Basically, the number of survivors is 4 plus 1 per every 2 survivors. So if you're playing with 6, you're going to roll 4 dice. You're playing up to 11, 12. So you're playing like a double team, you're going to get 7. Once the die is rolled, assign the spawn zones with the matching spawn cards. So this is an interesting, different way of doing this, as opposed to just spawning 1, 2, 3, 4 around the board. So what you did was they rolled 5 dice for this mode. So when they rolled a 1, there's going to be a spawn up here at 1. They rolled a 2, a spawn will be at 2. They rolled a 5, a 5, and a 6. So you'll spawn 3 spawns over here then. They did not roll a 3 or 4, so nothing will spawn down here. This is kind of interesting because it makes the spawning a little bit more chaotic versus always knowing something's going to spawn in a specific spot. So if you always know you're going to spawn, 4 spawns. That's all we're getting, right? You can kind of prep for that a little bit by knowing to maybe stay one way or the other. But it's a little bit more devastating if all of a sudden you have 3 spawns in one area. Also, now this side of the board is going to become overwhelmed and a lot heavier. So it's like it's kind of a neat, interesting thing. I think you could play the game either way, but I think that's a neat extra way for to make the game feel a little bit more random how zombies are coming. So it's not just they're always coming from one of the 4 directions or however the tiles are laid out. They could come from various areas. Notice I have colored spawn zones again, which can activate otherwhere. Another couple of things we have are activating manholes, extra activations, manholes, and beds. So extra activations are always the same. You draw it, they'll get to do something else. We've had manholes in the past, but we have some more in here. So what these do is when you draw one of these cards, they summon on any zone where a manhole is if a survivor is in that zone. So it's showing here Joe stands at a crossroads straddling 4 tiles. So he's going to spawn that particular number in each of these zones per each manhole. So like this has 2 pictured on there because there's 1 on this tile, 1 on that tile. They'll summon 4. Versus if we look at this one here, he spawned here, but because he is 2 walkers spawn here since he's here. No zombies spawn here, there's a manhole because it's on that tile there. Same thing, this one won't spawn, but this one will because he's straggling these 2 tiles here. So that's kind of, again, a neat way of like you can end up drawing it and your position to make a difference. You have to maybe watch more where you are to watch out for manholes. Then we have the same idea we'll get to if we haven't gotten to the tents yet, but the tent cards have beds in there, and there are spawn points for beds. Just say, hey, spawn 1 crawler. Luckily, it's only a crawler if you can spawn for every single bed. Some of these are pictured on the maps. Some are pictured in tents, so it's kind of cool. Again, it can be a very interesting way to play the game where it's like, and boom, now you're inside here and you cleaned out a zone. More zombies can spawn there, or they can maybe start in that zone. So when you draw a bed card, no zombie is buried in the designated zone. Instead, place a single crawler on every bed matching the color. Every tile has at least one on every tile that has at least 1 survivor. So again, they have to be in them areas, so they're not going to spawn across the entire board. Bed invasions never happen on devoid of tiles. Double in 1 extra activation if you have enough crawlers. So very interesting. So that's pretty cool. Neat ways, extra ways to summon things. Combat all stayed the same. Nothing extra there. But we do have a couple of new locations on the map. So we have hospitals. So we have some hospital tiles. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they're going to have indoor alleyways and locker rooms. So let me grab one of them. We'll take a quicker look at one of those. So here's one of our indoor hallways. These work basically like the streets for all purposes. You can see straight down stuff. You can't loot them and stuff. There's our beds. You have some green beds, some blue beds. And then we have one specified as locker rooms. So it says, for alleyways, hospital featured indoor alleys, count as street zones for all purposes. Line of sight can see as many zones you can go through, can't search them, and spawns don't incur indoor unless there's a spawn zone, of course. So just showing there, like, bear can see all the way through the entire thing because it's treated for any purpose as a zone, or a street zone. This zone is in a hospital tile and is not a locker room, therefore it can't be searched. Resolve a spawn in this door when the door is open, so the door is closed and nothing will spawn. This is a locker zone can be searched. So it's kind of neat. So it limits what zones you can do. So don't resolve a zombie spawn indoor alleys when the door is open. They count as streets. On the other hand, zombies spawn in rooms with a missing door. So like any of these that have missing doors would spawn, but not the closed ones. Then we also have here, cars featured in previous Zombicide seasons can be driven in indoor alleys. However, they need to pass through double doors like those found in Toxic City Mall expansion. So yeah, that's kind of, you can drive cars. There are no cars in this game. Then we have tents, camp tiles and tents. Camp tiles are V7, 8, and 9. Camp zones are also street zones. Most of them can receive tent cards and indicated on the map tile, on the mission maps. How do tents work? Unless otherwise stated by the mission, distribute hidden tents at random in one of the zones. Face down. Survivor entering a tent for the first time reveals it, flips the tent card, and spawns zombie inside. Check the beds too. A zombie entering a tent doesn't reveal it. Tents can't be searched except for administrative and infirmary cards. No line of sight can be traced through a tent or between tents and other zones. If you own other Zombicide boxes, a tent can't be driven through. Yes, this is kind of neat. We have 9 different tent tiles. A bunch of them so they look like all the same on the one side, so you can't tell them. We have like 2 beds. This one has 4. A couple different styles. This is a neat way to spawn extra zombies in there, but it's also a way for them crawlers to spawn more beds. And then we have 2 of them that are the infirmary and the administrative one, which can be searched. So you might get lucky and find one of them. You might not, depending on how many are there. So it's a really neat, interesting idea. And then they have the tiles for those. Look like these, so they're these outdoor-looking ground tiles, and then they're just big enough to, set a tent inside each one. And then if you have, like, multiple, you can, like, link them together, and then, like, there creates another new one on the top for that area. Or, yeah, link them like this, you get top and the bottom. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. You can have campground tents outside, mix and match these wherever. So it's a neat new mechanic as well. Alright, then we didn't talk about the helicopter in the room. Like the elephant, the big old helicopter. So we have helicopter actions. So helicopters, so some missions feature helicopter token, unlock special actions for survivors. Helicopter can be used as an objective, an obstacle, and more. So getting in or out of the helicopter. Survivor gets in or out in a zone. Getting in a helicopter, either a pilot seat or one of the 3 passenger seats, must be empty for the survivor to occupy. Cannot contain any zombies. So it kind of works basically like a car. Survivors with fast roping skill, since no one can get out of a flying helicopter unless you have the fast roping skill. Which, to note this is, there are there's I think 4 of the 12 characters in this set, the survivors in this set have them. There are a couple guest characters that have them. Otherwise, since they are not, helicopter is not part of 2.0, nobody in 2.0 has the ability to fly or get out of a helicopter, including these guys. If you play the reboot, they remove that from the text. So, I would say, that's if you try to add the helicopter into the game. I would almost, into 2.0, you'd almost have to customize your rule. Either be like, everybody can get in and out whenever they want, or nobody can, everyone can fly, or just have to maybe determine it ahead of time. Say they're saying, yeah, these 3 have fast roping at the additional one, and then 3 of them have the flying ability. Survivor can change seats to occupying. Empty seats do not change seats. Taking off or landing, a helicopter can be flown only if the mission allows. The helicopter pilot skill is required, so those 3 characters have them. 2 zones can be used to take off or land a helicopter. The helipad in Mission 9 or the wasteland tile in 7B. Some missions, including other zones, as well. Watch out for the briefing. Pilot has to spend an action to take off or land the helicopter. It doesn't leave the zone yet. Placing or removing the helicopter base, simulate flying. Pilot can't leave a seat as long as the helicopter is flying. There's a way just for you to get across the map. So they kind of show that. Parker begins her activation by flying a helicopter. Her first action, she flies 2 zones to get here. A helicopter flying above buildings ignores obstacles such as walls and is not considered to be in the room. With her second action, Parker goes to the helipad, and with the third action, she can land. Landing a helicopter. Landing a helicopter can move all. A flying helicopter can cross the board very easily. Survivors can move the flying helicopter into one or 2 zones per action spent. Flies from zone to zone in straight lines that run parallel to the edge of the board, ignore all obstacles, including walls, fences, or zombies. Can fly over a building, moving from one room to room is not considered inside the room. Helicopter is not a move and is not subjected to modifiers such as free move actions. Survivors inside a helicopter cannot interact with actors outside the helicopter, vice versa. Even with skills like born leader, lifesavers, for example. A molotovs has no effect on a flying helicopter. Line of sights can't be traced from inside to outside. So basically, when you're in the helicopter, the only thing you can do unless you have the fast roping skill is wait till it lands. So it's always considered to be the last use of the loud skill action. Stashing equipment. This is also a neat thing, is you can stash equipment inside or just spend an action. Put stuff in there so someone can come back and get it. So you could drop off a weapon or part of a Molotov, and then someone else can come around later and get it. Or you could fly the helicopter to a different zone and someone could get it without you having to ride in the helicopter. Kind of brief there. Does say companions can also get in there. If you own the companion miniature, like dog companions or other just people companions. Or if you're playing like 2.0 and you have like the president, something like that. Survivor has to spend an additional action to allow a companion to get in or out of the vehicle. You can't get in without them. Companions occupy seats. Companions are equipment cards that can be stashed in a vehicle. Any companion left in a vehicle, however, must occupy a vacant seat with its miniature. Yeah, so very interesting there. Now if we flip back over here, we had... we had crashed helicopter card. Where was the token? Where's the thing for crashed helicopter? Right there. Unless otherwise stay in a zone and partially cover the crashed helicopter, can't be entered or crossed. Box on site. Don't spawn zombies in the zone. Toxicity Mouse Bank may notice the crashed helicopter code uses the same rules as rubble. Game effects affecting rubble affect your helicopter as well. So you can also put this down on the board to have it just be blocking the way as well. So yeah, here's our big helicopter. Last of our tokens. We have our little bullet points here to keep track of your ability points. We have an extra door there. We have the helicopter stand. And there's 4 little spots there for the miniatures on there, which is kind of neat. We have our exit. Then lastly, we have stairs, which are double-sided, which are used for tiles with, like, the helipad. I don't know which tile that's on. I'll find it here somewhere. There we go. So the helipad has fencing around it, and you have to use a stair to get up onto there. Alternatively, you could put like a door on the other side. So you could have like a building that goes like this, and you can use the building to like, exit onto the helipad. That could be alternative, but otherwise if it's by itself, you have to have a stairs to get up onto there, just as an entry point onto that area. So that is, yeah, so here's helipad and stairs. Helipad is border of the fence, accuracy concentration line of sight, entry range, can't do it, but cannot move. So yeah, it's kind of neat. So it's like the prison outbreak, notice the hell fence is not barbed wire, cannot be crossed or destroyed by an invasion. So you could get into the fence area and shoot out. So there's kind of a neat extra tile that way as well. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention about trigger events. They only trigger if you stop in the area. So like here, Kathy moves straight through there. She does not stop in that tile. Therefore, she does not trigger that event. So that's actually a neat thing as well with them. Then we have team actions. Alright, so this is another neat mechanic for the game. You can opt to play as teams. It just says setup page 6, so we just jump to that really quick. Doesn't say too much in there. They kind of mix it in there. It says, assemble one to 4 teams. Each player joins a team. Team may have several players, gathering 1 to 6 survivors to play. Sit around the table and in order to choose, either grouping teams together or interspersing players from different teams. Teams must have the same number of survivors. You must have a total of 6 to 12 survivors. To play a new game, a single team must have, for a new player, a single team with 6 survivors is recommended. So again, they're kind of just listing teams as you can play teams as regular game. Hey, we're going to play 6 players as a team. We're all together. Or you could separate it and be like, I'm going to have a team of 3. Like me and 3 other people are going to play 3 characters. You guys are going to play the other 3. You could be guys competing over stuff, which is kind of neat. And then we end up drawing... so yeah, there's a couple different things you can do with that. So one thing we get are team actions. Veteran players may use team actions to enhance their experience during the setup. Each team chooses up to 2 action cards, must have the same number, and kept throughout the game. During the activation, a survivor can freely use team action cards to choose. His team chooses. Each team can only use 1 team action in each player phase. So you do have 2, but you can only use one per every player. So if you have 6 players on your team and the other players have 6, you can only still use one per phase. To use a team action, these conditions have to be met. The survivors in a team action, at least one other teammate. You can have more, they can all do it. All selected survivors can be able to execute the chosen action. For example, if it's a melee attack, you have to be able to have a melee weapon. Select the zone. This is either the starting zone or the end zone of the action, and designated survivor has to resolve the chosen team action in order of your choice. Each survivor action must be fully resolved before the next one takes it. And the team action resolves, survivor resumes their turn. It is not an activation, may not benefit from it, only resolves indicated action skills. So team actions still should be used during team actions except those called upon during survivor's activation, like +1 free move or lifesaver. Zombicide Season 3 only features 3 different ones. Now, unfortunately, they did not add more in any other game. I would have loved that. It would have been kind of cool to add more stuff. But we do have a couple of them, and we'll look at those. Let's just take ahead and look at those. So we're gonna have charge. It says 1 free move action optional, then 1 free melee action in a zone containing zombies or rival team members. So this lets you like the charge keyword. This is what locks them together. Just letting you use keyword abilities, but you can use them as a team. We have 3 of those. Sorry, we have move, gains 1 free move action, or we have shoot, 1 free ranged action. So very simple extra abilities, but using them as a team is a really neat idea. I wish they had more different ones, like maybe you have a combination of someone using one skill versus another skill, something to be neat like that. But as an example of how charge would work is, basically here they're showing these 2 survivors can each choose to use charge. They can both move to the same tile and both do a melee attack at the same time, basically. So this is a really neat way for all your guys to get together and get a move together. Another option there is are surrounded, they prepare for it, start orders of charge. Team action on its own. They don't use the free move actions already stand on its own, but each of them gets to resolve a free action. So it's kind of cool. If you guys stay together, so you can either move to the same area, you can all attack. Another option is Joe is in a bad position. Stinger Walker's with him. He has no actions left. He decides to call upon his team with a charge in his own zone. So you gotta pick where they're all moving, or if they're moving, and then they choose their attacks. So Lewis and Carrie all have equipped melee weapons. Revolve the free action to join Joe. Each of them, Joe included, executes a free melee action against the Stinger Walkers. So that's kind of cool as well there. Or you can have right here where everyone moves to a zone where the zombies are instead. Or you can have them all move out into different zones and attack as well. Yeah, so you can have them move all to the same zone, all to a zone with zombies, all from different zones to the same zone, or all move out. So it's basically they get to move somewhere and then attack. But you have to select one or the other, like what tile they're going from or what. So it's kind of cool. Then we have the move action, same idea here. Select the zone, all chosen members can reach in a move action, they'll execute the move action, or select the zone and all chosen members standing and they'll get to move. Yeah, so here we get they'll get to leave. Striking is needed out of the helipad. Move action lets everyone move. But you know, they don't all have to move, so it's going to select the 2 that are going to move. So here it goes. Lewis Ellis move, team action, Terry and Travis, the teammates are located in other zones, so everyone gets to move to the same zone quickly. Team is assembled. Or, Dan is the last to play and realizes his team is too noisy. They may attract zombies from a strong area. The move team, they'll get a move action and reach adjacent zones. So they'll separate to different areas, but then they're out of that noisy area. Then the final one is shoot, which works just like all the rest. Basically, select a zone which target range can fire at, and they'll shoot that zone, or select a zone where all the members are, and they'll shoot out of there. So here they all can shoot into that zone. Here they're all going to shoot from different ones to that zone, or here they can all shoot out of that zone. So they're neat little abilities. I just wish there were more options. Then one of the last new things we want to go over is competitive mode. So completely optional, the competitive mode pits teams against each other, often with deadly results. It's quite simple. The teams you gather during setup are rivals. At the end of the game, add together the experience points earned by all survivors in each team, including the dead. The team with the most experience wins. Until then, it's a free-for-all. You can bargain with other players, form temporary alliances, and then betray allies, even slice and shoot up rival teams. Remember, killing another survivor doesn't earn you any experience points. The competitive mode can only be used in competitive missions, so they only have 2 listed in here. Nothing says you can't do it in everything else, just gonna make the game a lot harder. Situation where players have to agree on. The way to play a game effect has to be resolved and now decided by the first player. For example, this applies to zombie inflicts wounds in a zone containing survivors of the rival team, or the zombies are split during zombie phases. So yeah, only the first player gets to decide that. So they can decide, do I want to play fair? What's the most even way to do it? Or do I want to be like, nah, guess what? They're just going to attack all the team. But also then remember, that could come back and happen to you then too. Target priority is an exception to the previous rule. The attacking survivor chooses his targets among the victims sharing the same priority level. Movement is not hindered by rival survivals. So if we do look on the back of our priority list, number 1 is a survivor, except for a shooter. And then it's walkers, fatties or brutes, and then abominations, and then runners, and then crawlers at the end. So yeah, if you are targeting, and you have to hit a survivor, you're gonna hit one of you. Can always hit the other teammates first. Then we also get bulletproof vests. So in competitive mode, rival teams receive an equal number of free bulletproof vests. In addition to the classic equipment, there are not enough bulletproof vests cause an equal number. Return the excess to the box. So yeah, if you're playing, there's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you're playing a team of 3 and 3, each person would get 3 vests. If you're playing 2 teams of 5, there's not enough. I mean, you could give each team 3, but if you're playing 3 teams of 3, you're not going to have enough to give each team 3, so each one would get 2, 2, 2, and 2. If you end up with an odd amount for some reason, 3 teams of 4, for example, there's not enough, and each team would get 2, and then the rest would just go away. Type of thing. So bulletproof vests are pretty simple. Basically, offer protection against other survivors' attacks, not zombies. First time you get wounded, you flip it to the damage. Second time you get rid of it, then they take damage like normal. So basically, against other survivors, it gives you 2 extra hits. So it does kind of make you want to attack other survivors more often, just because at least they have an option. Competitive mode turns Zombicide into a different game. You may want to try this mode on your own before introducing new players. Aside from additional bulletproof vests, we deliberately chose not to adjust the core game's rules for competitive mode. The environment is the same. Noise management is crucial for zombies, survivors. It's all the same. So that's actually neat. So yeah, you just add this and you can fight against each other. So I did want to look at one of those missions quick. So we have this one, competitive mode. It says, objective, rival teams. The game ends when the last objective token is taken. Add together the experience earned by each survivor, including the dead experience win. Special rules, competitive mode, the number of survivors in the game, time rely on your skill. 2 teams, each team begins in its own starting area, chosen randomly. So it does have 2 different starting areas there. And then don't even think about it. Each objective gives 5 experience points to the survivor who takes it. Yeah, so basically here in this mode with competitive, you're just racing to try and get all the objectives. Now, the thing is, you can eliminate other players, but as soon as you start eliminating other players, even on rival teams, it's going to make more of a challenge. So if you kill a guy, let's say, like, everyone just gangs up and kills one of the other team. There's 6 players, 3 and 3. All of a sudden, now you're down a full person to be able to do anything else and help defeat the zombies. Because they're still going to spawn, regardless if there's 2 people or if there's 6 people. Yeah, so there's a couple of changes to equipment, but nothing major there. I think the last thing for competitive mode would be attacking priorities. Which is, if I can find it, I can never find anything when I'm looking for it. Page 28. That is what we were looking for. Yeah, so we do have a targeting priority. Hits are assigned the lowest priority until they've all been eliminated. Then targets to the next priority until they've been eliminated, so on and so on. If several targets the same priority, you have to take them out. In Terry's zone, there is Joe, another survivor, 4 Stinger walkers, 1 Stinger fatty, and 2 runners. Armed with 2 MAC 10s, known as Zombicide. Terry's going to take them all as possible. He rolls 10 dice, 5 for each max 10. He gets a 6, 6, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. So hits on 5 or 6 means 5 hits. Joe takes 2 hits, which kills him. Thanks, bro. And then the remaining hits eliminate the 3 walkers. So he has to target that survivor first. Yeah, it says when ranged weapons, shooting survivors not choose the targets hit by successes are started in according of order. Yeah, so yeah, if you're shooting into a zone, you are going to hit whoever you are targeting. Cool. Alright, so that's what we'll have for video here, part 1. This just went along. This is the rules, kind of overview of all the new stuff. Come back for part 2, where we will jump in to look at the survivors, the tiles, the cars, look at them a little bit closer. See you guys there. Bye.